Investigative correspondent Aaron Katersky, also ABC News legal contributor, the host of the Law and Crime Network, Brian Buckmeyer. Aaron, let's start with that moment that man rushed the shooter. Let's just listen to the emotional impact statement from the victim's family member and then how it all went down.
You gonna come to our city and decide you don't like black people. Man, you don't know a damn thing about black people. We're human. We like our kids to go to good schools. We love our kids. We never go in no neighborhoods to take people out.
Aaron, you were there in the courtroom when it happened.
It was simply heart-pounding to be in the courtroom when that moment unfolded. The raw pain of these victims' families is unabated 9 months after the shooting May 14th at the Tops supermarket. And it was unleashed in the courtroom when the spectator lunged at Peyton Gendron, who was quickly ushered out of the room. The judge left the bench, and some of the relatives of victims also left in tears. There were shouts, there were audible sobs as the hearing was interrupted. Kira, this lasted for several moments before the court officers were able to restore order and bring the judge and the defendant back into the room. The judge said that she understood the emotion, understood the anger, but said it could not spill over into the sentencing hearing, which then continued with its inevitable conclusion: life in prison without the possibility of parole.
Aaron, did Gendron respond at all, react at all? Did he show any type of emotion?
He did not appear to. He did look over at the relatives of the victims as they were delivering their statements, but no apparent emotion or impact really seemed to register on his face. And some of the family members were quite pointed, turning from the judge and turning their face and their whole body toward Gendron so they could call him a cowardly racist or a pitiable soul. And when it was Gendron's turn to address the court, he offered a very brief apology. He said he killed people because they were black, and looking back on it, Gendron said he couldn't believe that he actually did it. I had a chance to speak a moment ago with the Erie County District Attorney John Flynn, who told me, Kira, he doubted Peyton Gendron's sincerity. He expressed remorse and he apologized during his statement before the imposition of sentence. Do you take him at his word?
I take him literally as his word, that those words literally came out of his mouth. There's a difference between what comes out of your mouth and what's in your heart. And so while I concede that he did say those words came out of his mouth, I firmly do not believe that that was from his heart.
The Erie County District Attorney John Flynn instead said he believed that Gendron's statements were motivated by his federal case at a different courthouse. He still faces federal hate crimes charges that do carry the possibility of the death penalty, and that Erie County DA John Flynn said, Kira, is why he made the statement that he did.
Wow. And Brian, do you think that his defense was hoping, something would come from his statement today, considering he already pleaded guilty?
Not when it comes to the state case, because once you're convicted of that domestic act of terrorism motivated by hate, it's a very unique and new charge. It's only been around since 2020, but we know that if someone is convicted or pleads guilty to it, they must get life in prison without the possibility of parole. So the only thing I can think would be, maybe they're thinking of the federal case, but I don't think that his word's going to take the death penalty off the table, and that's what he's hoping for there.
So, Brian, prosecutors say the shooter's intent was to incite and inspire more hateful acts and was charged with domestic terror motivated by hate. We mentioned that up top. He's also the first to face that charge in New York. So what do you make of that?
I think it was the appropriate charge. I think when you look at the charge, and us in New York know it comes from a stabbing that existed in 2019 where a man was convicted of stabbing 5 people from the Jewish faith. This law is appropriate for what he did. He was not from Buffalo. He researched where he wanted to go and where he wanted to murder people. He said that he went to the area that had the greatest concentration of Black and African American people, but I call lie on that because he's from Conklin, New York. The closer place is Brooklyn, Harlem, or the Bronx. I think he would never have gone to New York City to do what he did. I think he intentionally picked a large population that he thought was less protected and less in numbers, that he could cause the greatest amount of harm. I think he was looking for who he was going for, and he picked the ones that he wanted. And that's why I don't agree with anyone who thinks that his apology is sincere. I actually agree with the district attorney.
So, Aaron, following this sentencing, how is the community just feeling and reacting today?
You know, one of the things the district attorney told us, Kira, is that no one's going to fully heal from this. There's never going to be closure. And in fact, a number of the families are going to be involved in lawsuits that seek to hold others accountable. Maybe the social media sites that Chandran used to research some of the hate-filled speech that prosecutors said led to this mass shooting in the first place. You can't sue them over their content, as Brian Buckmeyer well knows, but perhaps over the way they're designed to continually engage people in whatever it is that's there. So that's going to be one aspect for the families. But the Erie County DA also spoke about the larger meanings that this case held for the community, and the judge spoke to it too. This sentencing is now over. Peyton Gendron has been sent to prison, but those larger themes about what to do with the rise of white supremacy, that's an unanswered question, Kira.